Great decorating is all about the details, including a gorgeous textured set of coasters. How we love a coaster. Functional. And why not be beautiful? Quince has a gorgeous set of woven rattan coasters in 3 terrific colors with their own little holder that you're going to absolutely love. And if you haven't visited quince.com/DTT yet, get on over there. It's everyday elevated living without the markup. From crisp 100% linen bedding and soft organic cotton towels to airy curtains and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And the best part? Like Quince's clothing, their home goods are half the cost of similar brands. By partnering with top artisans, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. We're here keeping you ahead of the curve. Hey everybody, it's Kelly Wilkness here with Anita Joyce, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. Today is the trend preview for 2025.
Ooh, and what's with that sexy voice this morning, Kelly?
Well, I'd like to say that I was partying like a rock star last night, but I think I just might have a little bit of a cold. So bear with me with my thank you, sexy voice. Hey, trends are really interesting. Everyone loves to talk about them. There's so much interest when we do trend episodes. So we wanted to really get ahead of it this year. So coming out early in November with our trend preview. What I'm seeing is that in the last couple of years, maybe even a few more than a couple, maybe like the last 4 or 5 years, I feel like there's been a movement away from the trends being so style specific. Think about like the last real big style specific trend we had was farmhouse. Mm-hmm. And the trends in the recent past have been more sweeping trends, focusing more on a vibe, a feeling, dare I say even a movement like sustainability rather than a look. And I am really enjoying that because I think it better lends itself to what we want to see, which is you, our dear listeners, interpreting the trends your way to create your own style, rather than saying, oh my gosh, okay, the trend is farmhouse. That means I have to get this and that, and I have to have, my eggs sign.
So I agree with you. I think this is a much better way for us to go and a lot easier for people to incorporate them if they like them.
Yeah, and what you're going to hear from us regarding 2025 really lends itself to this beautifully.
Well, the other thing I was going to mention, and that is that home trends change a lot slower than fashion trends. So you are not going to see big changes from one year to the next, typically. So when you listen to the trends, spoiler alert, they're going to be similar to what you heard a year ago, but not exactly the same. And then next year, there's going to be some crossover from this year, but there'll be a slight change. So there's just kind of some slight movement every year, typically not a jarring change. And that's a good thing because I've noticed a lot of people really wait too late to even jump on a trend.
Yeah.
If you're going to jump on it, don't wait. I know on the gray, some people, I think, were like, oh, I don't know if I want to get on the gray trend. Oh, I don't know. Well, they waited 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years because the gray just felt like it was going to last forever. And then they said, okay, I'm going to do it now. And you're like, sorry, it's over.
There goes the train. We're waving at it. Left the
right.
station.
So maybe you've got a year left of it, but
So what are you seeing?
More. If I could describe everything, I'm going to call it more. Textured walls, wall paneling, decorative plaster, textured wallpaper, brick and stone veneer, fabric wall coverings. It was so minimalist for so long and just simple, gray or white, no color, nothing going on. And we're kind of seeing a direction away from that. And so we're going to start with the walls. And now we're looking for more going on with them. And as you know, I live in a farmhouse in Texas. I have shiplap. So I do not have boring walls, but the grand shiplap trend has passed in general. But I'm keeping my shiplap. My whole house is shiplap, and it's consistent. And that was another thing that we said. If the trend works for you, even past the life of the trend, then just keep it.
Yeah, if you love it and if it works in your home, it works in your home. It wouldn't work in another home. Ceilings. This is down on my list a little bit, but since you kicked off with walls, the next thing, the attached thing, is the ceiling. The ceilings are on trend. Our ceilings, your ceilings, do something interesting, whether it's painting it a different color or it's adding some molding or even adding some ceiling tiles, which could be in the form of acoustic tiles if you need some soundproofing. They're really good looking now. So you can do that, or it can be the tin or faux tin ceilings. You could put a ceiling medallion, but look up and think about how you can make your ceiling really interesting. You could even wallpaper your ceiling. I have a lot of interesting ceiling things in this house, actually. I was thinking about that while I was prepping for this. We have ceiling tile, tin ceiling tile in the dining room. Now, I was told that this is not original to the house because it is attached with Phillips head screws. And the gentleman who looked at it, Phillips head screws, and now I'm just remembering, I could get this wrong, but Phillips head screws were not around in 1886 when the house was built. Maybe they didn't come around till the 30s or something like that. But at some point, not yesterday, not 10 years ago when I moved in, some significant period of time prior to that, someone put it in, but it wasn't put in originally. I have painted a ceiling in one of the bedrooms, a metallic silver, which I love. I have planking on some of my ceilings in the entryway and in the upper hallway. So you can do some really interesting ceiling treatments. And sure, could you paint it a different color or make it a vibrant tone? Yes. You can also paint it the wall color, and then you're discerning the texture, but it's not really jumping out at you.
If you want to make a change, paint that ceiling, and that's going to be a lot easier than changing the material that the ceiling is made of. In my house, farmhouse, it's all beadboard on the ceiling, so I definitely have texture going on, but right now it's the same color as the walls, which are all white. And yes, I'm thinking about color, but I haven't done it yet. Okay. The next trend is integrated outdoor living. So this is the blurring of lines between the inside and the outside. So to me, there's several things wrapped up in this. Part of this is having very livable outdoor spaces set up like rooms. I'm seeing a lot of outdoor bathtubs, outdoor pergolas, and a lot of more comfortable furniture outside so that you can use it more during the day. So that's part of this. The other part of it is bringing the outside in. And how would you do that? Well, one way is by using those oversized glass doors or glass walls. I'm seeing that more and more in new homes, is that there's a whole wall of windows. And I am down for that. I love that. In fact, we did this, did a 10-foot long door out of glass. And I mean, it's 3 doors, but it opened up the view. It was incredible. If you have a great view, man, you are not going to be sorry if you put in these glass doors. It is amazing. And if you're doing a new build, again, if you're in the city and you've got neighbors close to you, probably not the thing. But if you've got a little more space, if you've got a view, do it. You won't be sorry.
Well, welcome to California. We're all about indoor, outdoor living and flowing. And we really didn't have any mosquitoes until a couple of years ago, but we still don't have very many compared to where I grew up. La Cantina is a company that is, I think, all over the country, but they make an incredible accordion folding glass door that just kind of goes away. They're very expensive, but that's something you could start with, learning about those. And like we tell you about antiques and other pieces of substantially priced furniture, you know what the really good stuff is and why it's the really good stuff. And then, if the budget doesn't allow, you can come down in the price point and probably still get the same feel, or you end up doing a slider. And maybe you don't break it up with any interior panes. Like maybe you don't do a French door. You do something that's just glass. It can make a tremendous difference. And I agree with you with the view and how that can be so life enhancing to be able to just sort of open up your home and flow in and out and really appreciate it. But picture even all those lovely Victorian terrace homes that we love in London. And they can do that too. Oftentimes they'll have that off their kitchen. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like that type of home is the floor plan is very it's repeated often in many homes, and then they'll have a lovely garden that's sort of enclosed, with hedging and lots of greenery, so you're not really looking at the back of somebody else's house. It can work in that sort of environment as well. If your kitchen leads onto your backyard and you're thinking about opening it up, I agree with Anita, you will never regret that decision.
What about discrete tech? So this is a softer approach that makes tech less obvious and less intrusive. So smart speakers that are hidden, wireless charging stations that are built into furniture or, plugs in the wall, voice-activated lights, thermostat, so much more. We are having more and more tech in our homes, but I like that we're making it less obvious. And for example, with the TVs, where people are using those TVs where you have the slideshows when you're not using the TV, or it just looks like a painting when it's not in use. I think that's a great thing to use. And I think I had shared before, and I'll share it again, there is a thumb drive you can use with your smart TV so that it will do a slideshow of artwork while the TV is not being used. And it's a lot cheaper than buying one of those TVs.
Darn it, I wish I had remembered that, because we just bought one of those TVs and they
Did you really?
They are a lot more expensive.
Yes, they are.
Peter was like, why do we have to spend that for a TV? I'm like, because it has a Van Gogh on it. Duh. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Well, okay. What's done is done, but I'm loving that television. It's made such a difference.
Do you have a nice frame on it too?
Yeah, and you walk by and it just looks great. It really is really nice. I think it's worth it. But obviously, if you can go your route, that sounds great. So definitely put that in the show notes. Definitely discreet tech. We have, I'm sure we've talked about it many times, but I know we have one dedicated episode too about, hiding those wires.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you could look at. And maybe Anita can link that in the show notes.
Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. I can't stop using dupe.com. This is an amazing website, service, best friend. I absolutely love it. So you find something that you really want and it's too expensive. It's a budget buster. Then you use dupe.com and you can find almost the exact thing or very similar products for much less. So I was crushing on this incredibly gorgeous coffee table. I had it in my mind. I had it in my Pinterest boards. I had it everywhere, but I just didn't have it in my house because it was too expensive. When I learned about dupe.com, that was the first product that I tested. And boy, did I find some amazing dupes. And I purchased one. So the original was almost $3,000. And dupe showed me many choices, all the way down to under $200. Now, you may think something this extraordinary is hard to use, but it's so easy. Just type dupe.com/ before any product URL in your browser, and boom, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account required, no sign up required. It's completely free. That's completely free free to use. Stop wasting your money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today. Making room for wellness, because we are surrounded by tech and we're involved with it all day long, and we're got our phones and we've got this and we've got that. People want to have
this whole wellness trend be part of their home design. And it's wonderful. And it doesn't have to mean that you're redoing all your bathrooms and putting in steam showers and saunas and things like that. But you can have more of a dedicated space rather than just like a yoga mat rolled up in the corner that maybe you get to once in a while. Maybe you carve out a little area in a room and it's actually set up with whatever you need, whether it is a yoga mat or some stretchy bands or a place where you do meditation, so a nice cushion or things like that. So it's there and it's kind of beckoning to you, put down the tech and come over here and do that. I think that's a lovely thing to add to your home. And we're seeing that definitely happen from really high-end homes to just a small apartment. You can carve out a little space if you make it very specific that this is what it's being used for.
Well, I love the idea of being very purposeful about how your rooms are used so that you don't have a room that you just never go in, because that makes us cry. That is very sad. What about color-drenched rooms and bold color palettes? Remember I said the overarching theme is more, more, more. So more color. You can do a single color in different shades in a room, or you can go with different colors. But I think the main idea here is to get a room full of color, including the paint, not just the fabrics, but the paint, and do the walls, do the ceiling. I'm thinking vivid hues, terracotta, blood red, emerald green, and royal blue.
Don't think ombre. It's not as if you're painting the walls in an ombre. It's just incorporating various shades, which can be very beautiful. And depending on the color that you choose, maybe not so scary for people, rather than being super bold with maybe a palette of 3 super bold colors. So it's kind of a step into some drenched color, and that's definitely on trend. Now, you mentioned a color that's very on trend, red. And I was trying to think, we just talked about red.
Well, yes, because I was talking about my wild bedding that made such a splash.
Yes. My voice and that bedding would really go together.
Are you sure you don't want to borrow it?
Oh, well, no, your mom's loving it. We talked about the red in conjunction with our Kick in the Kitsch fall decor, because we were talking about, I believe that's the one we talked about, because we were talking about bringing in red and a certain color red, and it doesn't have to be so in your face orange, and it can kind of slide you into the holidays. But you might want to just keep it all year round, because red is very on trend. So it's very bold. As you know, it's like the boldest color. But we're talking about kind of a deeper red, not a Christmassy red, not cherry red. So a deeper, moodier red is very on trend for 2025. And how I would use that would be in accents, unless you're just a person who loves red and you missed it and you want to go back to painting your dining room or another room in a red tone. I would probably incorporate it in accents and see how I felt about that, because I've been redless for a while, but I do love it. But it wouldn't go with what I've got going on right now. If I painted a room red, it wouldn't flow with the rest of my house. So you're kind of in the same boat, but you want to incorporate red. Do it in small ways. And you could even just try it like we were suggesting in that prior episode. Try it for the holidays, and maybe it's going to stick around.
Yeah, and I still love the red Oriental rugs. And if you go to a resale shop, they are selling them for nothing, because people were done with the red. But I still think it goes so well with so many colors, especially if you have blue in your house. Blue and red are just natural together. So I think that's a great look. So that's something to think about. Another thing we're seeing is casually comfortable furniture. So we're looking at furniture that is practical and relaxing. Formal is out, casual is in, except at my house in certain rooms. But otherwise, other places.
Don't be too casual with those French chairs.
Well, I'm just saying, I've got the French chairs. Some of them are more to look at than sit in. So anyway, just FYI.
That's okay. That's okay.
And that's my style, so that's fine. But, comfort is becoming just as important as the look. Well, for some people, comfort has always been more important than the look. But right now, it is so hot to have something comfortable. And we're thinking oversized sofas, deep-seated chairs, rounded edges, and you're not going to believe this, Kelly. Brace yourself. Are you sitting down?
Please don't say cup holders.
I'm not going to say cup holders, but I am going to tell you, lazy boys. Lazy boys have seen a surge among millennials since 2020, based on my research. So,
I always thought the millennials just got a bad rap but now I'm like,
now you're done, huh?
I'm like, I'm not sticking up for you anymore. I never thought about this, but lazy boy.
Oh, well, yes.
Because men like those.
They love them.
Mostly men like those. And you get to, even when my little mom sits in my dad's, which, she tried to pick one that didn't really look like that, but she's like, they are really comfortable. Okay, they are. But you know what? Comfort isn't everything, as Anita just pointed out.
Well,
So
see, I think
try to stop yourself short of that. You don't want to be a lazy girl.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so you need something that looks like a French chair during the day, and then somehow it's a transformer, and then it's a Barca-Lounge or whatever at night. So I don't know how you do that, but
multi-purpose furniture. We love that. All kinds of multi-purpose furniture. It's great for anyone, but it's terrific for small spaces. So you got to pick things that can do a few things for you, right? It's smart. It allows you to buy less and buy better. Here's an example, the ottoman/coffee table. You got both things in one piece of furniture. So think about ways that you can multi-purpose whatever you're buying.
What about pattern mixing? Combining patterns. It's not new. But, it hasn't really been done a lot in the last 10 years. Things have been very minimalist, very clean, very simple. People have gone the neutral route. We've been away from patterns. And I did do a lot of neutrals for a while. I did love it, but I did miss all my patterns because I used to be pattern. And it is back. Now, it takes a little bit of skill combining these, but it can be done. You don't want it to feel chaotic. You want it to feel cohesive. So there is a way to mix these patterns. And I think we may have an episode on this, Kelly, but you want to
definitely do.
Yeah, you want to stick with a consistent color scheme. And then you're going to use stripes and florals, geometrics, different smaller size patterns with larger scale patterns, but stick with the same color palette to make this look good. But it is a beautiful look. The English country look is such a gorgeous style that uses lots of patterns, and boy, it really looks gorgeous. So if you want to see pattern mixing done well, go to houseandgarden.co.uk and you're going to see it over and over again. Done very well.
Well, if I do say so myself, I just texted you a photo of some pattern mixing that I did for a client. Feel free to use that photo if it is the right size for our show notes. It incorporates.
Oh, that's cool. Oh my! Look at that, beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't want to hold
embroidery. Yes, and red. Okay, I'm going to include this so you can see it.
If it works, but I don't want to hold back from anyone. I don't like when you listen to a podcast and they talk about something you can't see. But I did mention this a while ago about mixing this animal print in for a client, and that she was hesitant. So people might remember me talking about that. But it's got the pattern mixing. It's got the red, it's got the blue you just mentioned, and something that people will see is there's a big pattern, there's a medium pattern, and then there's a small pattern. And that's kind of the general rule for mixing patterns. Now, of course, your colors need to be right and all that, and it's kind of, it needs to have this unspoken language, but that talks to each other. So, and it's kind of one of those things where you'll know when it's right. So anyway, you can listen to the other episode. You can look at this photo if Anita's able to use this one. Sometimes the photos are not the right size, so she might not be able to, but that's okay. And I think you'll have so much fun mixing patterns. Of course, you can buy pre-made pillows, and it doesn't have to just be pillows. It could be a throw with a pillow. It could be bedding. It could be carpet, all sorts of things. You want everything to sort of work together. But lots of times when you think about pattern mixing, you're thinking about these pillows that are going to be sitting on your furniture. So if they're not pre-made, then get a lot of swatches and play around with them. And if you can, or before you would order any sort of custom pillow, you definitely want to get some swatches and make sure that the colors are right in person. So that is so much fun. Another thing is sustainable materials. Back to what Anita mentioned at the beginning, sustainable materials has been on trend for a while now, and for very good reason. But this is something that we're all going to need to be doing. We all should be doing, in addition to the 3 R's, the reduce, the reuse, and the recycle. So in home decor, that's meaning don't buy too much junk that you're not going to keep around for a while. Go thrifting, buy consigned, swap with friends, Facebook Marketplace, wherever you like to go to find furniture to give new life. That's wonderful. That's very sustainable. Think about vegan leather. I mean, when vegan leather term came out, it's like, oh, that's funny. Like, it's fake leather. Like, I called that pleather for many years, thinking that was a bad thing.
I still call it that.
Well, because you're from Texas. But we're all about vegan leather here with our indoor-outdoor flowing and all we're doing here in California.
With it is, it does not hold up like real leather. I wish it did, but if you get a chair made out of leather, be very careful because it's not going to hold up like leather does. It will not hold up to the wear and tear.
And probably not. And if you have something that's leather, hold on to it because it's already there. Don't feel bad about having it. Mm-hmm. And don't feel bad about buying. I hesitate to buy upholstered things, fabric upholstered things secondhand, but leather is a different thing. It's easier to clean. It doesn't get stuff, in the fibers as much. Something to think about when you're purchasing vegan leather is what is it made of? Because you don't want to buy toxic vegan leather because that's not sustainable. There are certain polyurethanes and things like that, or the polypropylene rugs. And, sometimes with a rug, if somebody has excess amount of dogs and things like that, it's just kind of the way you need to go. And it's not going to be a rug that you roll up and throw in a landfill in a year. You're going to keep it. Okay, that's the deal. But if you can, just keep in mind when you're purchasing vegan leather, look for plant-based materials. So vegan leather can be made from a variety of plant-based materials, including pineapple leaves, cork, apple peels, cactus, and other fruit waste. Crazy, right? So cactus leather is made from the leaves of cacti that are grown without herbicides or pesticides.
I hope they're taking the stickers out first.
Yes. Well, yeah, that would, ouch. You don't want, you might not want to get a chair with that. But the leaves are dried in the sun and then processed into a vegan leather that's partially biodegradable.
Well, now that doesn't sound very, very much like something that's going to last if it's biodegradable.
Well, I guess it depends on the piece of furniture or the item that you're getting, right? But it's just something to look into because buying something that's called vegan leather, but it's made from all petroleum-based plastics, not so good. Vegan leather can also be made from recycled plastic, so that's great. Recycled plastic, you can make matting out of that. You can make rugs out of that. You can make sneakers out of that. So just look into it. Know what you're getting. Just because it's stamped vegan doesn't mean it's really good. I know, so much to think about.
Yes, lots. And my last item is something that goes along with a lot of the things I've already mentioned, and that is maximalism. The minimalism is out and maximalism is in. Bold colors, intricate patterns, a variety of textures, and visually rich and dynamic spaces. Lots going on. A lot of color, a lot of pattern, a lot of gorgeous, rich fabrics, like we mentioned in the last episode, velvets and
Yes.
linens and furs,
Velvet.
embroidery, just all these gorgeous textures, wool. All of this is going to work so well with maximalism. And the thing about maximalism is it is a very fun look. And kind of the rule is it's never too much, kind of. But again, you can...
Until it is. Yeah.
Until it is. Well, I guess what I'm saying is you do need to know what you're doing because it can easily begin to look chaotic and you want it to look cohesive. So that requires a little more skill, but it can be done, and done well, it is spectacular and beautiful.
I've got a couple more. Emphasis on craftsmanship. It's another one of these trends that's been coming on for a while and will continue to stand. And I think it is in a reaction to the tech-heavy homes, all the smart home business.
Mass-produced stuff from China? Yeah, it's a reaction to that, too.
All of that. And I saw some article recently, I don't want a smart home, I want a dumb home. And I kind of get it, because I don't want everything to be like, where's the remote for the shades? Where's the remote for this? And all of that.
Well, and the more wireless tech there is in your house, the more EMFs, and that can be a negative for your health.
Okay. Dark wood, also on trend this year. Dark wood is lovely, even though the prices for thrifted and consigned items and these older pieces of furniture that we love have gone up in the last few years because of COVID and the supply chain and all of that. Still a bargain, particularly if you're thrifting and consigning. So look out for some things like that in your local shops. And lighting as art. We love good lighting. Think about lighting as the jewelry to your room. And particularly if you're going with a bigger piece, that can really be not only an adornment, an accent, it can actually be the focal point in a room. So I think the trends for 2025 are terrific. I'm really excited to share this preview with everyone. And we've given you some ideas on how you can incorporate these trends into your own home. But if you want some advice on how to do that, or advice for your home as it is right now and how it can be even more you and make you even happier, sign up for a consult. It's early November if you're listening to this episode when it first comes out. We don't have that many, but we have a couple more slots left between now and the holidays. So you have time to get your house together for the holidays if that's important to you, if you're having guests or whatnot. And we would love to talk to you on the phone and talk all things home and get to know you. So the link for the consult is always in the show notes, always on our website. We would love to see you schedule something. Oh, and I forgot. I always like to tell everybody the color of the year. For this preview, I'm just going to tell you the color of the year from Benjamin Moore, which is usually, besides Farrow and Ball, my go-to paint company. Anita, I think you may really like this color. Although now that you're telling me you're going to kind of getting into orange and red, maybe not.
I'm not. I'm appreciating it. I'm not changing my main colors in my house. I'm just
the Anita palette.
Baby steps. Maybe I got a plate that had a little orange in it. I'm not painting my walls orange.
Okay. So color of the year for Benjamin Moore is cinnamon slate.
Oh, okay.
Now, everybody can look that up. It is number 2113-40, but if you put in color of the year 2025, Benjamin Moore, it'll pop right up. Now, I would not have called it cinnamon slate because I don't think it really speaks cinnamon language. It speaks plum, but in their more in-depth write-up about this color, they do call it a heathered plum with velvety brown undertones. It's a really pretty color. It's not my palette, but I can appreciate it as a really lovely color. So check it out. It might be a color you'd like to incorporate somewhere. That color with some luscious plum or aubergine velvets, to die for. Check it out.
Well, I think that's a beautiful color.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm liking it.
Yeah, I thought you would when I saw it. So we'll link that in the show notes too, so you can easily get to it. But obviously, it's just a little Google search away if you want to look at it right now while you're listening. So what are we defining?
We are defining canape, and it's not what you think it is.
I thought you were going to say cannabis. I was like, what?
You're on a different planet today with that voice. You're like a different person. Who are you? So I think of canape as being an appetizer, but did you know it's a type of French settee?
I don't think I did.
Well, now you do. So it features a padded back and seat, open arms, ornately decorated frame, and I actually have a canape in my house.
Who knew? Oh my
I
gosh.
know. Well, I didn't realize that's what it was called. I always called it the French settee, but it is actually, it does meet the requirements for that. So it was popularized by King Louis XV of France in the 18th century, and it has become a classic piece of furniture for formal sitting rooms. And at the time, they were considered both comfortable and stylish. But of course, it's not to the lazy boy standards of comfort. We're talking 18th century version of comfort because it was actually upholstered. So they are really beautiful. They are comfortable if you're sitting on them for a short period of time. They're not something you're going to want to kick back on and put your feet up on. It's not really like that. But they really are beautiful pieces of furniture. And let's see, I'm trying to think how many. I think I just have one.
I was going to say you have more than one. Okay.
Well, no, it is just one. Sorry. There's too much furniture coming in and out. Sometimes I don't know. But yeah, so that's what it is. I just have one. But it is really beautiful. But yeah, at some point when we moved, I'm like, where am I going to put this? Because it's really pretty formal. And anyway, so I kind of had a hard time finding just exactly the right place for it because I thought, I'm not getting rid of it. It's too pretty. But anyway, they are still just as elegant, just as in style as they always have been, because that's the beauty of French furniture. Most of it has just lasted the test of time. And it is amazing how something that old is still seen as so beautiful.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, well, we all learned something. Now I'm kind of hungry. Canapes.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your crush? Is it food?
No. Is yours?
No, it's not.
Okay. No, mine is a design book that I really enjoyed cover to cover. And it is a new edition, a reprise, I don't know if I would call it a second edition, but it's a book that was so popular like maybe 20 years ago or so, and it's come back in a bit of a new form. And it's by Rose Tarlow, who is a very famous designer, and she has a fabulous store here in Los Angeles and has for many years. It's called The Private House. You will learn a lot. Okay? You will also read passages, and you will remember hearing us talk about very similar things and decorating tips and tricks. So it will underline a lot of things you've learned if you're a longtime listener here. And I just really like her approach to decorating. And I think you all will really love it. It's The Private House.
I'm going to have to check it out. My crush is an IG account, and it's Landon Bryant. Have you heard of him?
No.
Well, he's related to my friend Peggy. You know Peggy.
I know Peggy. Landon Bryant sounds like a country and western singer.
Well, he's from the South, and he explains the South to the rest of the world in a very funny way. And I still don't know if Texas is really part of the South, but I can relate to a lot of what he says. So one of his recent posts was about the horror of hearing someone say they put your iron skillet in the dishwasher. Because that is very scary to have heard that. And then the other one is about how you go when you go to church and someone says they have an unspoken prayer request and how much everybody hates that. So he's pretty funny. He's Landon Talks on Instagram, but it's Landon Bryan, and he is hilarious.
Okay, I'm looking. That's so funny. Does he explain bless your heart? Because I had to learn that.
He's got a whole thing on it. So yeah, just check it out.
Does he have long hair and a beard
and glasses? Yeah, that's him. Yeah, so well, this was fun. I
might not get it though.
Oh, you might. Well, he's explaining everything for you, so you'll get it.
He's mansplaining the South. Got it. Okay.
Well, it's just his shtick, so I wouldn't call it mansplaining. It's just hilariously funny.
Good. Okay, I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, and I always enjoy doing the trends. I think it's also fun to kind of look back and see. I mean, there were some trends that I saw that were being reported that I read it and said, I don't think so. I didn't even include those. And I know you did the same. You only included some that you were like, yeah, that one's legit. But there are some interesting people on the internet you'll find reporting things that will never be on trend, but they say, even though they say they will. So something to keep in mind.
Well, we're here to curate the universe. That's our job.
That's right. So remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.